Evangelist for Learning and Core Technologies at Adobe. Before Adobe, I worked with Amazon.in for a long time, setting up something called Seller University, which was the selling and learning platform for sellers to do exceptionally well on Amazon.in. This is my first conference, and I have to say that it's been a wonderful experience. I am a lifelong learner. I completely believe in that principle. I love Elon Musk always says, don't do wishful thinking, always think from first principles. So today I wanted to proudly present one of our newest offerings that we have as part of our technology portfolio. It completely focuses on the learner, completely focuses on what the modern day learner wants. And we'll kick it off with a video, then take it from there.
This is not your typical LMS. It's the result of an obsessive quest to capture the experiences that matter most to you. How easy? Navigate a beautiful and intuitive interface that's so simple you can roll out a program in 90 minutes. Create modules, turn modules into courses, courses into programs or certifications, then enroll learners. All training types covered. What about live lectures?
Yep.
Auto-assign learning activities based on it. A player that can play anything with no plugins required. Video, PDF, PowerPoint, DocX, XAPI, SCORM, AICC. Hey, it's not a game. Leaderboards, badges, challenge coworkers. Online or offline, on desktop, tablet, or smartphone, learning as mobile as you are. Learners can customize their home page and meet their career goals by strengthening existing skills or picking up the skills of peers. They can upskill to expand their role or cross-skill to explore a new one. Learners take notes from within the player, then send them to email or use them to jump back to specific course moments. They can choose the language and learning style that suits them best. Track skill development. Close skill gaps. Training that meets business objectives. Wait, you have 10,000 learners? 100,000? Across multiple divisions? Yeah, that's cool. This is extendable. Give divisions their own LMS that they can brand and manage. Partners and vendors too? Why not? Embedded into your intranet or existing enterprise system. Integrated into SFDC or other third-party providers like. And because it's made by Adobe, you can expect nothing short of secure, supported, fast, every action and experience.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If I'm not wrong, this is being developed in India, am I right?
It's being developed in Bangalore, in our Bangalore
right.
office.
So that's what we are very proud of, Adobe's partnership. This is an India product, made in India product, and launched at SHRM conference. So we really feel great about it.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Of course, it's not anything new to anybody here in this room about when someone is satisfied with what they're doing, it immediately makes them more productive and it makes them much more driven to achieve a bigger goal. So one can always say that goals can be, you can put goals on a piece of paper, or you can put it on a billboard and ask people to follow it. But the whole truth of the matter remains, until someone is not engaged and they don't feel they're achieving a bigger outcome than just themselves, they'll always be slowed down. Now, one of the great things about modern day civilization, or the modern era as I like to call it, is the modern day learner or user is unsatisfied. So there is in no way that you can give him a template at a one-size-fits-all approach and expect him to be productive and actually affect bottom line positively or affect his team's goals. The modern learner now, so we work very closely with Burson and Deloitte. We do a lot of deep dive on data and work backwards from there. And of course, during the course of my discourse today for the next 10 minutes, I'll also be putting these little things of what I learned along the way with my experience with Amazon.in, 2 technology startups that I founded. And since I live in Bangalore and I shuttle between San Jose and Bangalore, one of the things I can tell you in a city like Bangalore is the innovation and the kind of drive you see from young entrepreneurs in technology is amazing. It's the best city right now to be when it comes to technology, engineering, design. So the modern day learner now wants everything to be collaborative. They want to learn from each other. And that, again, boils down to not just them learning a piece of content or a training module or program. It means they want to learn by experiences. Now, obviously, I can tell somebody how to do, just for example's sake, how to do a cold call to a client. And I can tell him all the steps to do it. But until he actually shadows one of my calls, I know he'll learn much more that way. And the same goes for design or engineering principles. Why do we prototype? Why do we wireframe? Why do we make substantial precursive moves before we actually make the final? Is to work backwards from our mistakes, work backwards from our failures, try to understand that this incremental thing is only temporary. The scalable and the large-scale solutions come after multiple failures and multiple iterations. And once you're there, you don't have to say much to inspire. It's your actions and the projects that you're working on which will inspire the next generation of people to follow you. When you're talking about untethered and on-demand, well, I saw this great presentation you had, amazing, for Udacity. I have to say I use Udacity too. Who doesn't? I use Lynda as well. So it's more about I want to be able to be in control of my own learning and my own progress. I need to know that there's some spots out there on the internet that I can completely depend on and completely feel that this is the best information. So since I am in a room with HR personnel, I like to call it like the grievance and the empowerment division of a company. Like you can go and talk to your HR leaders, your HR managers, and I always thought, like, as a learner and as an employee of an organization, I would always go and talk more to my HR stakeholders about my personal experiences and what I'm feeling when I'm doing the work. Because from the perspective of them being able to tell me how to do something, they might be able to give me something which I know I can use. But if they hear me out and they kind of give me an idea of how to work around something on an emotional level, I find that to be much more pleasing and much more powerful. So Adobe Captiva Prime was launched by us 2 years ago. This is our, I want to call it global launch. This is our global launch for the Asia Pacific and the subcontinent. It's been an absolutely humbling and amazing experience working on this product with engineering and development, marketing it, going out and communicating with folks. We wanted Prime to be the one-all, end-all learning management solution where you can not only collect information on a formal basis from your L&D and content creation teams, but also go ahead and tether and bring in more content from external sources. Prime is not meant to be in any way a replacement maybe for existing infrastructure systems, but we always like to think of Prime as being that add-on or being that bigger brother or just being that sibling to an already existing infrastructure that you might have at your companies. We've got some fantastic reviews for the past couple of years. It's, again, I keep mentioning the word, and Sean kept mentioning humility. It's such a humbling experience to learn that your product is being talked about, it's being taken very, very seriously by large enterprises and large corporations. As we went out and spoke to more and more corporations, each and every stakeholder that I've always interacted with has made it very clear that they are completely employee-centric for the next decade. So they only want to know what you can provide to the employee that'll make them more productive, keep them retained, and keep them gunning for more. So we kind of went across an entire spectrum of customers. One of the main reasons I didn't want to put this slide in today, I just didn't want to put it in, but I wanted everyone to know that we kind of sued the entire spectrum of different verticals and different business verticals. And the kind of showcases that we have in the past 2 years have been quite phenomenal. I put in 3 customer showcases just to let you know as to how they approached, how they had a particular problem, and how they felt that Prime could solve that problem. With Publicis Media has one of the world's greatest programmatic marketing training programs. They work with a lot of ad tech companies. They have an amazing ad tech infrastructure. One of the things that they were facing problems with as the advertising ecosystem kept changing, they had to continuously update a lot of their content on their pre-existing system and then expect people to come and take that course like a refresher or recertification. One of the things that we advised them or recommended them to do was create a skill path or create a journey for your learner before you start giving them that content. And when they launched Prime, within 5 months, they had 2,200 self-voluntary signups on the system, which is great because one of the things that I feel that HR and L&D have been a little back in the last decade is internal marketing and marketing the power that we possess. And because I think it's always based on stakeholder management, you need to have a lot of private approvals before you go out there. But this was a great example of how once the system was up and running, people voluntarily came and signed up and felt a difference almost immediately. Tintri. Tintri is an amazing virtualization 3D company based out of San Jose in California. They had an amazingly huge spectrum of offline learning. They would do all the learning offline in classrooms. when they started using Prime, they found an amazingly blended approach where they could have learning programs that not only have offline classes in classrooms, but also have e-learning and self-paced modules. One of the biggest things that they found interesting to use in Prime was the player, or the browser player that enables you to play content. It can play any content if it's static, documents, PDF, or visual, video, and all in one place. So during the time when we were seeing that video, there was this part where it showed you the user can take notes as part of the player itself. That's something which they also found very engaging for their learner, because their learner can take the notes, take it back, email it to themselves, and then share it amongst the community, which kind of gives that growth mindset in them that I want to share and I want to have all my knowledge spread across the organization. The last was Camelot Software. Camelot Software does a lot of logistics work for a lot of massive e-commerce companies, including Amazon. They take care of warehousing. And one of the things they wanted to do is that they have a lot of associates on the floor, and they wanted to monitor all their users from one dashboard. So the entire journey from being able to create content, modulate it, make it much more retrofitted to your group, they wanted to also be able to monitor and get a lot of data out of it. So one of the things that I've always been doing, and I'm like, it's been 3 or 4 months, is I talk a lot about data all the time. Like I love to see a lot of data, like precursor data and post-cursor data, what effective had, and work backwards from there. I think that's the Amazon effect in my blood still. But I think one of the things that data can show from a learning management side is very simple things which we kind of overlook. How much time was spent on a module? How many exits were done from the module? How many re-entries were done on the module? This gives perspective to your design teams and your internal SMEs to kind of retrofit and work on that content a lot more. So, of course, thanks for having me today, and just wanted to obviously leave you guys with a quote. We've been talking about this all morning. One of the greatest visionaries, artists of the modern era, Michelangelo at 87 said, "I'm still learning." I believe in this quote, and once again, thanks so much for having me and being such a patient audience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.